What's going on, everybody? This is produced by Profi, bringing you a video on how to mix vocals on FL Studio with using stock plugins only. Now, before I get started into this, I'm just going to go ahead and state I am not an expert or a pro at mixing vocals. I wouldn't consider myself an amateur. I'm kind of in between, so take that with a grain of salt. I've been doing it for over a year now. There's still a lot to learn, like anything else. There's always things you're learning every day. And I just kind of want to give you my rundown on how I do it, because I feel like I do have a good grasp on what to do. And there's a lot of people out there who don't know what to do. So I think, as someone who's not an expert, I think giving my opinion and sharing my way of doing things could be extremely helpful. So again, I'm not an expert, so if you see me doing something that you think is wrong, or maybe I could do better a different way, don't be surprised. If you do have a better recommendation on me doing something, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always open to learning, but I just figured I'd go ahead and share some of my knowledge in the way that I personally like to mix vocals, and I feel that when I mix vocals now, I think I get a pretty good product at the end. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. The person that I'm mixing vocals for is a local artist by me. His name is Mark. I will put his SoundCloud down in the description below. He's a boom bap rapper mostly. He does explore a little bit in other directions, but he's a very talented artist. So I'll make sure to link his SoundCloud down in the description below. I'm not really familiar with the song. He just sent it over to me. I kind of wanted to go into this raw, so it was a little bit more like authentic doing the video. So with that being said, all I did was just preload everything in. The first thing that I always do is I always put everything on a track. So usually what I do is I put the beat on 1. I usually put the beat at the top and I put the beat on 1. The main vocals I'll do on 2. And then typically I'll put the ad-libs or background vocals after the main vocals. So you might have like several main vocals, but maybe you want to put them on different tracks because maybe it's a different artist. I'll just do beat, main vocals, and then ad-libs or background vocals after those. That's just the order that I prefer. It keeps it nice and organized, and it's easy to keep track of it. So with that being said, we're gonna go right ahead and getting into the main vocals here. Sorry if I started a little bit. It's kind of hard to hear myself with these headphones on. They're pretty good at noise cancellation. So the very first thing I'm going to do is pull up an EQ here. One thing that Mark does have is a deep voice, and he really likes having low end in his voice. And for anyone who's not sure, low end can be very difficult to work with because it can conflict with the low end on the beat very easily. So it gets a little tricky when you're trying to keep that low end in there, but I try to do it as much as possible for him because that's really where the fullness and the saturation of his voice really is, in all honesty. So what I usually do right off the bat is I sharp cut at the very high end, because everything over here, your ears don't hear it anyway, so it's really not necessary. So anytime I EQ everything, I always sharp cut at like the 20,000 hertz. And then next, I'll listen to the vocals, and I'll kind of get an idea for like where the vocals are at, what needs to be removed, where I should cut the lows at. So I'm just gonna go ahead and listen.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm sipping on the poison gin, facilitating sins I've said, heating shit with grills instead, beheading MC rappers, claiming I'm the one who's losing, and I guess it's true. But my mental never stops. I grab the pen from breaking pencils on these instrumental drops.
So with his vocals personally, I've done a lot of tracks with him. I'll usually cut it at around 90 and then just kind of remove as I go. So a lot of artists, so if they're singing, a lot of times you can cut up to like 150 without losing any sort of saturation in the vocals. With his, like I said, he has a low voice, so a lot of the saturation is the low mids. So I usually cut his vocals at 90, and then I'll just kind of remove from there. So usually what I'll do then at this point is I'll kind of listen to the low end here and see where the harshness is at, and then you'll see what I'll do. I'll bring it up, really amplify where the harshness is, and then I'll reduce.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm sipping on the poison gin, facilitating sins I've said, heating shit with grills instead, beheading MC rappers, claiming I'm the one who's losing, and I guess it's true. But my mental never stops. I grab the pen from breaking pencils on these instrumental drops. Looking, and you all looking for closure. Reaching under your bed to find your gun and holster. Took 6 shots through your mother.
So thankfully, his vocals in this song specifically really doesn't have a lot of harsh low end to it. It sounds like it may have been pre-compressed, so I'll keep that in mind when I go to do the compression, which I'll be doing next. So really quick, before I get too ahead of myself, I'll usually just do I'll do the cuts on the EQ, and then I'll do a little bit of removing to kind of get that harshness out. I really didn't remove much, and that's important. A little bit when it comes to EQing can go a really long way. It's really circumstantial. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the compressor next. I'm just going to use the Fruity compressor. I'm going to do all the basic plugins just to keep this simple. Now, usually when I compress, I usually do a threshold of 20. That's just kind of the sweet spot that I found. And since these vocals sound like they were pre-compressed, I'm only going to do the ratio at around 3-to-1. Sometimes I'll usually go up to like 6-to-8 because I do like the sound better. Sometimes it's a little too much. It just depends on how the how the vocals come to me, and it sounds like they may have been pre-compressed, so that's something you have to keep in mind. And then I'll usually do a pretty fast attack, usually like 1, and then 40 on the release. These were settings that I found a long time ago when I was doing research, and they seem to work out pretty well, so I've always stuck with it. The type, I just do soft. I like the sound of it the best. And then the gain just depends on how much was removed, so you'll have to listen.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm sipping on the poison gin.
Typically, I have to add around like 5 to 9. It just depends. Right now, I'm only getting around 9 dB. I like having a little bit more than that because typically when you get the vocals in, they're usually around like 6-to-0, -6-to-0. So I like getting it back up there again so I don't have to add so much on the mixer.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with...
That sounds pretty good so far. All right. After the compressor, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start sweeping. Now, sweeping is basically just going to be looking for really specifically harsh frequencies and then removing them. So on this one, I'll just cut at 90 again just to assure nothing's getting below there. Same thing as the last EQ. This time, we're going to bring these up, but we're going to make these really skinny. So, and then we're just going to sweep like this.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm...
And again, we're not going to do a lot, just a little bit. And I apologize if you do get some ear-piercing frequencies in there. That's kind of just a part of sweeping.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm sipping on the poison gin, facilitating sins I've said, heating shit with grills instead, beheading MC rappers, claiming I'm the one who's losing, and I guess it's true. But my mental never stops. I grab the pen from breaking pencils on these instrumental drops, Looking, and you all looking for closure, reaching under your bed to find your gun and holster. Took 6 shots through your motherfucking poster. 6 o'clock, mama told you.
So you're going to notice a little bit of a difference probably after sweeping, but it's the fine tuning that really makes a big difference in the vocals, and you might lose a little bit of volume, so keep that in mind. As far as the next plugin we're going to go with, I'm going to go ahead and do a Maximus for a de-esser. I really don't like using the de-esser on this, but again, I'm trying to keep it to stock plugins only.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm sipping on the poison gin, facilitating sins I've said, heating shit with grills instead, beheading MC rappers.
Alright, that should be good. Now we're gonna get I'm gonna get another EQ just to boost the highs a little bit for clarity.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm sipping on the poison gin, facilitating sins I've said, heating shit with grills instead, beheading MC rap.
Alright, let's see what else we need here. I haven't used stock plugins in a really long time, so I always forget what the essentials are, so forgive me for that. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and throw a sound goodizer on it, throw some saturation on it. As far as cleaning them up, I think they sound pretty good at this point. I mean, with stock plugins, you can get pretty decent results, but I prefer using third-party plugins, and when I use third-party plugins, I do a lot more than this because you can get a lot more in-depth with it. So, as far as this goes, You only want to add a little bit of saturation.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm sipping on the poison gin, facilitating sins I've said, heating shit with grills instead, beheading MC rappers, claiming I'm the one who's losing it.
Alright, that sounds pretty good. You'll just have to mess with the settings to figure out which one sounds good. Then next I'm going to do some reverb.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm sipping on the poison gin, facilitating sins I've said, heating shit with grills instead, beheading.
So I usually put the separation to the left, and then the wet, that makes it very sensitive, so I usually have just a little bit on there to make a difference, and then I'll low cut just to clean up that low end of the reverb. And then I usually do a delay. Actually, I'm going to use delay 3. And then...
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die because I'm sipping on the poison gin, facilitating sins I've said, heating shit with grills instead, beheading MC rappers, claim. Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, think.
Now, if you notice, it's barely noticeable, but you don't want to overdo delays and stuff like that. You want it to be settled. That's the key thing with that, and you can mess with the cutoff too.
Check it. Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, thinking I'ma die.
Alright, so I think the main vocals are going to be good then. So, once again, primary EQ is going to be where we do the main cutting, a little bit of reduction. Compressor is going to be where we compress it. This is going to be circumstantial. Sometimes it's better to use multiple forms of compression in little amounts. I don't know what was done before. It sounds like some compression was done, so I just did a little bit of tweaking. Next EQ, we did some sweeping. Maximus we just used for de-esser. This one we use just to add a little bit of high end. The Soundgoodizer for some saturation, reverb for some reverb, and then delay. So the main ones that I would follow my advice on would definitely be the EQs and the compressors. The rest of it's going to be circumstantial. Now we can get to the background vocals here, and
check it.
And usually with the main vocals, I'll sometimes put them in mono.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling.
And then I'll put the ad-libs and background vocals as stereo. So we're going to get to the background vocals next.
And it's the same old shit. Brand new day, got the same old whip. And they say, life is a trip. Pursue the happiness and we just trying to...
So I'm just going to do kind of the same thing. Now with background vocals and ad-libs and stuff like that, I usually do a lot less. I'll usually do some EQing just to clean it up, some compression, and then I'll add like more amounts of reverb just to kind of blend it in the background. But as far as the ad-libs and background vocals go, I usually don't go too far in depth because usually they're lower in volume, so they're more for texturizing. So sometimes it's not necessary to do all the other steps that you have to do for the main vocals because the main vocals are in your face, whereas these are more just kind of in the background to texturize. So we're just going to do kind of the same thing, but we're not going to do everything.
And it's the same old shit. Brand new day, got the same old whip. And they say, life is a trip. Pursue the happiness and we just trying to now. And it's the same old shit. Brand new day, got the same old whip. And they said, life is a trip. Pursue the happiness and we...
Compressor, we're going to do the same settings.
And it's the same old shit. Brand new day, got the same old whip. And they said, life is a trip. Pursue the happiness and we just trying to now. And it's the same old shit. Brand new day, got the same old whip. And they said, life is a trip. Pursue the happiness and we just... And it's the same old shit. Brand new day, got the same old whip. And they said,
Alright, that sounds pretty good. And then I'm going to throw some reverb on here. I'm not entirely sure how much I'm going to add, so I'm going to have to listen to all of them combined. I'm just individually working on these until they're ready to start adding the really fine tunes to blend them in.
Same old shit, same old whip, and they said trip, trying to get a glimpse. Same old shit, same old whip, and they said trip, trying to get a glimpse now. Same old shit, same old whip, and they said trip, trying to get a glimpse.
Again, pretty much everything the same, because pretty much everything I did before was pretty standard, so we can apply it in all cases, and then everything else will be fine tweaks.
Same old shit, same old whip, and they said
let's see here, Maximus, split band. Alright, what else am I forgetting here? Now, if you want to be super particular with what you're doing, you can go and sweep on the ad-libs and the background vocals. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to get that picky with it. But just know that that's not out of the question. I just wanted to mention that. I just don't want this video to get too long. I just wanted to focus a lot on the main vocals, and then you can apply any of that to everything beyond that. So I'm just kind of getting the basics here, till I figure out what I want to do. I need a soundgoodizer.
same old shit, same old whip, and they said trip, trying to get a glimpse.
Alright, now we're gonna listen to these.
And it's the same old shit, brand new day, got the same old whip, and they said life is a trip.
Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and get these leveled, and then we're gonna tweak the effects after that. So let's see where the beat's at. Alright, well, the beat's already down to -9 dB, which is perfect. There's nothing more difficult to mastering a song than having a beat that is at 0 mastered. It is very difficult. So if you ever get a beat that's like -3, -6, -9, you're golden, man. You got so much room to work. So now, really quick on the beat, I'm just gonna go ahead and do a sharp cut up top again, and then I'm going to sharp cut at 30, because anything below 30 is typically muddy or unnecessary frequencies. So, alright, now we're just going to go ahead and level.
It's the same old shit, brand new day, got the same old whip, and they said life is a trip, pursuit of happiness, and we just trying to get a glimpse. Look, and it's the same old shit, brand new day, got the same old whip, and they said life is a trip, pursuit of happiness, and we just trying to get a glimpse now. So I looked at, and it's the same old shit, brand new day, got the same old whip, and they said life is a trip, pursuit of happiness, and we just trying to get a glimpse. Look, and it's the same old shit, brand new day, got the same old whip, and they said life is a trip, pursuit of happiness, and we just trying to get a glimpse now. So I looked to turn the shoulder, another job gone, got me feeling like a boulder with.
So I don't know if you noticed there, but since he had 2 background vocals, I went ahead and separated them into their own left and right stereo. It sounds a lot better in my opinion. Little stuff like that is just little ideas you can do to change it up. Typically, that's what he likes, so that's why I do it. But yeah, I think everything sounds pretty good.
Check it. Young and broken, hustling, struggling with muscling, pen from breaking pencils on these instruments. And it's the same old shit, brand new day, got the same old whip, and they said life is a trip, pursuit of happiness, and we just trying to get a glimpse. Look, and it's the same old shit, brand new day, got the same old whip, and they said
Alright guys, well that's going to conclude this video. I hope you found some things helpful as far as tips goes. Hopefully you learned something. Again, if there's something that I could change or something that I'm doing wrong, I'm completely open to constructive criticism, so be sure to let me down in the comments below. If this video was helpful, leaving a like is always very nice, so please do that if you would. If you want to listen to my beats or see more tutorials, let me know, and also hit that subscribe button. With that being said, that's going to conclude this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.